So we're here at the Global Impact Investing Network Investor Forum in Copenhagen, and I'm here with Fredrick Daniel. And tell me about your organization.
Yeah, thank you very much. Once again, I'm Fredrick Daniel, Onzimai, and I work with the Private Sector Foundation Uganda. So we are a private foundation. We are the apex body for the private sector in the country. We aggregate about 300 associations that represent private sector companies. In short, we have about a member base of 2.5 million businesses that will represent. A lot of our work is in advocacy. We support these businesses, speak to government to address their issues, but also, because of our position, we also work with them on a key challenge in Uganda, particularly on unemployment. So we work with these businesses to create jobs. And we have a number of partners that support that journey. One amongst them is the MasterCard Foundation, with whom we are currently implementing the Young Africa Works project in Uganda, and other donors like the World Bank, EU, UNDP. So we work with a number of donor partners, but our main agenda is really job creation and accelerating the growth of our local companies in the country, both from small, micro to large entities.
So tell me some success stories with that.
Well, we have been quite, I'll say, with a bit of challenges. We have been able to learn and create about 120,000 jobs, working with a number of large enterprises in the country, like Mukwano, Grainpulse, Hot Loaf, Nice House of Plastics. So yeah, those are the big corporates in the country, and we're working with them to really create jobs.
Pick one of those, and what did your organization specifically do for them to help them create jobs?
Right, I'll pick. Let me pick out Grainpulse, because that's one of the projects I directly support, so I quite know a bit about their model. At the beginning, they were trading mainly in coffee. Looks out and sees there's a gap. Does a merger with K&S Group, so that they could move into the space of fertilizer and production of fortified foods. So yes, they do the merger. They come out as Grainpulse, and they raise, I believe, debt from IFC. So this debt is supposed to build a factory, which they do. So now you have a factory built, you have a lot of production capacity, but then you don't have raw materials. And also you're a new company, and the market needs these things, needs the fertilizers, needs food, fortified food. So that presents both a challenge and an opportunity. Because they need raw materials, they need outgrowers. They need people to grow maize, barley, sorghum, coffee, so that they can supply them and they can produce. So that's a good challenge for us. So we partner with Grainpulse, and we say, we are going to help you solve this challenge. We are going to support you in deepening your understanding of the value chain. We are going to support you in digitizing this so that you can trace where this food is coming from, who is producing for you. We are going to support you pass on some of the working capital challenges to the farmer by making the farmer able to get his own credit, so that you don't always have to pass on credit to them from your coffers. So we start this partnership in 2020. Unfortunately, we are coming out of COVID, so it was a bit challenging, but then we soldier on. So we directly support Grainpulse in taking down a learning system, how they are going to train. They bring a provider called EzyAgric, and EzyAgric is doing digitization. So they digitize their content, training content. They profile the farmers. They know the acreage. They know what each farmer can produce. So along that journey, we support them to get more farmers on board and convince these farmers that, look, farming is a worthy business. You can do it, but don't do it one season. Do it every other season. So we support them in convincing these guys to do that. We also support them in retaining the farmer, because that's also another challenge. The farmers lose interest after one season and they move away because these are young farmers. So we support them through that journey up until the end where the farmer is sustainably engaged in farming and supplying grain pulse directly. Also, one interesting model that we supported them to roll out was what they call the buy-on crop. So because most of these farmers that they're working with plant maize, one of the biggest challenges with Ugandan maize is aflatoxins. And aflatoxins later on cause a cancer-causing elements. So how do you remove the aflatoxins? And aflatoxins are normally coming at the point of post-harvest when you're drying. So we support Grainpulse to convince the farmers that you don't have to remove the maize from the stem. Keep it there until I come and buy it. So when I buy it, I'll take it directly to my nearest dryer, and I'll not have aflatoxins in this. It will not touch the ground. It will be from your garden directly to my dryer, straight to the factory that processes it into fortified foods and other parts into fertilizer elements. So really, you reduce. So because of that, the losses are reduced. The farmer gets more money up front, and yeah, it has been a good story, and we have learned a lot from it. So that's really one of our stories. We have many in different value chains. In the oil value chain with Mukwano, in trade with Movit, in construction with the farm called SM Kathan. So yeah, there are different channels, different stories. Yeah.
How's the organization structured? Is this an NGO? Is it a for-profit entity? Is it a government?
I'll start with, we are not a government entity. We are often thought to be a government entity because we engage a lot with them, but we are not a government entity. We are not for-profit organization, and we are structured as a company limited by guarantee. So our members, our shareholders, associations who represent these businesses and other corporate members who also have that vested interest in the business environment. So that's really how we're structured. So we have 3 strategic arms: the members, the operation of the foundation and growing its own internal resources, and then a program side. I belong to the program side, and in the program side we work with other donors, philanthropic agencies to solve social problems.
What are you excited about in the future with your organization?
Well, we have learned a lot over time, and right now we are raising what we call the Private Sector Catalytic Fund. And our learning has taught us a lot on how we need to do things differently, but the key thing is how to be sustainable. So we have done so many short programs, and we have learned that we need to build in an element of sustainability. We need to guide the general space on how to make grant investments, so that at the end of the day we have very strong entrepreneurs and not grantpreneurs like we'd like to call them now, which is some of the negative impacts we are learning from our work. So I'm excited about the Private Sector Catalytic Fund. I'm excited about our Zimba Impact Fund, which is focused on the construction sector. I know we'll be able to change Uganda into, over the next 10 years, it will be a very different space. We'll have a very low SME mortality rate. Many of our SMEs will thrive and grow. And we know and think that we'll have very strong businesses. The next generation of the large businesses that will be in Uganda in this phase, and with our work, with the work we're doing, we are going to see that that happen.
What are you most looking for right now?
We're looking for capital, and not necessarily consensual capital. We're looking for more capital into the country, impact capital, finance focused capital. Both we want both. We're also looking for learning. I think those are the 2 main things we're looking for coming here. We have to learn a lot, and that's why you see we are the gene. We are interacting with people that have learned this a lot. We want to get more people we can learn from. We don't have to make the same mistakes that have been made before. So our biggest challenge is really finding partners whom we can learn from, whom we can build some of these solutions with, but that understand the Ugandan the Ugandan context. I think that's one of our biggest challenges. We have a lot of people that support us, but understanding the context or the community that we are trying to solve these problems for, how they think, how they behave, what they anticipate.
How would you describe an ideal potential investor for you?
I'll say one that is willing to teach us too. I mean, yes, they're an investor, but maybe they're an investor because they know a little bit more on how these things should be done. One that is willing to teach us, but also willing to learn from us. One that is flexible enough to build this solution so that it's optimal to the community, because you can only make money, whether it is concessional or finance focus. You can only make money when the people you're giving this money to can sustainably create it. So we want an investor that is aligned with that with that mission and vision. But I'll say that's what the kind of investor we are looking for.
If somebody wants to try to find you online, what's the best way?
You can just look up the Private Sector Foundation Uganda. Our website is psfuganda.org, so you can find us there. You can reach out to there. We have a contact number and email that you can write to us. Website, Twitter, and LinkedIn. That's where you can find us.
Well, fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing your story, and I hope you have a wonderful conference here.
Thank you.
And thank you.